Hello, everyone. This is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of I, the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful, Rabbit Hole, and King Dio. We are officially 1 week following the release of No More Heroes 3. I played through the entire game. I let it settle for a little bit. I actually kind of forgot about it because I was so engrossed in playing the Great Ace Attorney for the first time. Another game that I'm really, really enjoying. And it was only just last night that I realized, I haven't really seriously thought about the plot. The first time I was playing the game, the first time I played the game, I was mostly focused on enjoying it, on just having a good time, on just really taking it all in, appreciating it for what it was. And I think that I reflected that in my review. I was talking mostly about the gameplay improvements, the boss design, and just all around, all the things I liked gameplay-wise about it, the experimental sort of boss setups, like the horror game section, stuff like that, the mech levels. There's all sorts of things to talk about No More Heroes 3 when it comes to the gameplay. It's clearly the best playing No More Heroes game by a significant margin with, the minigame improvements and just all these minor things. I love that. The gameplay was great. I didn't talk all that much about the story. In fact, I think my initial impression and the impression that a lot of people had was that the story was kind of disappointing, kind of underwhelming. It wasn't really what we were expecting. A lot of people, myself were included, were kind of excited about the goddamn superhero concept where you have a bunch of aliens coming to Earth, taking over the planet and declaring themselves superheroes, and then having Travis have the assassins be the good guys and killing these guys. That interested me. The concept of being an ET, being raised on Earth, forming a friendship with a kid on Earth, going back and then going back home and then coming back 20 years later to take over the planet. That interested me. That really, really got me invested right off the bat. I was saying that No More Heroes 3 had the best game trailer I'd seen since Breath of the Wild, and somewhat disappointingly, the game doesn't really follow up on that concept at all. It's never really explained why Fu treats Damon the way he does. It doesn't explain what Fu went through when he went home, his relationship with Damon, his mindset when it comes to taking over the planet. It doesn't really go into a whole lot of that. You get some interesting tidbits here and there, about his relationship with the people around him and things like that. But it's kind of incomplete. It feels almost unfinished, and I think I kind of bought into the anti-hype just a little bit, initially, when the game came out, because it felt like Suda kind of I don't want to say dropped the ball, but kind of didn't really flesh out the concept as well as it should have, because there were a lot of long, boring expositionary scenes. A lot of things didn't really feel like they fit together, but I think now that it's settled a little bit, and now that I'm going back to it and thinking about it a little bit more, I think it needs to be said that this game, out of all the games so far, I think all the No More Heroes sequels, does in fact feel the most like the original, for better or for worse. I think I do stand by the opinion that they really didn't need to bring back the UAA. They didn't need to have Sylvia handling the fights. I don't even know what Sylvia's purpose in the plot was. I just kind of wish she was there, doing her own thing, not being Damon Riccatello's secretary. None of that made any sense to me, but Sylvia just being, there, being in present in Travis' life, being the mother of his children, that's what interested me about Sylvia. As an actual part of the plot, this is the weirdest uses of her I think we've ever seen. Her entire role in this makes no sense with the whole superhero thing. Anyway, with the whole charging Travis so he could save the world, that doesn't sit right with me. Well, anyway, what was I getting at? Shit. Yeah, I keep getting sidetracked in regards to what it there is so much to talk about. There are still some things that I think maybe could have been different or maybe handled better. a lot of characters I think could have been utilized better, like particularly the older ones. Kimmy Love, Destroy Man, stuff like that. But I think the more I think about it, the example I've been, the thing I've noticed, when thinking back to No More Heroes 3 is that like it's very, 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 very tonally consistent with the original. In fact, it feels kind of like the inverse of. I don't want to call it the inverse of No More Heroes. It feels like kind of a repeat of the original in a lot of ways. With its core concept of like going up the rankings to like take out like a final boss, Fu. The thing is, as you climb the rankings, you start to understand that like there is a lot more to Fu than is initially let on. Like you kind of understand like his personality, his relationship with his compatriots, and his relationship with Damon and stuff like that. And you kind of understand. You kind of get this impression that Fu is indeed a lot like Travis in a lot of ways. Like it's kind of weird how they set this up, because Fu is not the protagonist. Like he's just kind of like a tyrannical, a stereotypical like dictator in a lot of ways. But like Travis, he kind of has the same view as taking over the world, right? Like he's game of conquest, right? Like. Like he sees the conquest of Earth as being as being just a game, as just being like a way to pass the time or whatever. Like he tells Damon over and over again, like, this is for you, I'm doing this for you, it's because we're friends. But really, like, much like the original, it's kind of like a shallow excuse to like go on this ridiculous sort of a crusade against the people of Earth, essentially. And Travis, I think, in contrast to that, has outgrown that mindset by this point. Like that mindset he was in No More Heroes 1, and has sort of progressed to where he is in No More Heroes 3, where following the events of Travis Strikes Again, he kind of understands like a bit more like who he wants to be, what he values, what he finds important. Like there are a lot of instances in No More Heroes 3 that like really showcase just how much Travis has grown up, like caring about those around him, including Shinobu, Bad Girl, who he calls by her first name, Charlotte, his kids, Hunter and Jean, the twins, Hunter and Jean. I don't know why Hunter exists still, but yeah, we still know nothing about Hunter. Like all those conspiracy theories just out the window. He's Jean's twin now, apparently. Like his relationship with these characters, even Sylvia, like who characters like Sylvia and Bishop kind of have their moments where like Travis really showcases just how much he kind of does have a real relationship to them. And that's the main thing I think has really changed since the original game for Travis, is that like rather than being just a shut-in like otaku, just who spends all of his time jacking off to like Bizarre Deli or whatever, he's gotten older, he's grown up, and he's built this weird community around him, like in No More Heroes, in the No More Heroes motel, right? Like fucking Bad Girl and Shinobu apparently are living next door. He has Dr. Naomi in his basement, who's like become a literal tree, completely unexplained, but Naomi is there. He has this like medical facility, like he's really like expanded everything he's been doing, and like you can tell like he's become like he's generally way happier where he is now than where he was in the original game, where he was kind of like putting on a front, right? Kind of trying to convince like the audience and himself that like he's a cool badass assassin when like he's really just a loser, right? Who just wants to smash, right? Right. This is kind of the point of the game, like as a whole, seems to be like emphasizing that Fu is the sort of person who like never grows out of that mindset, that Travis was in the first game. Because, like, if you think about it, the original No More Heroes 1, like, timeline-wise, has to have been, like, what, 13 years before this? Like, Fu was supposedly on Earth, like, 20 years ago. So, within, like... Although Fu was, Travis grew up more in less time than Fu did, because, like, it's kind of established through dialogue and exposition and through the cutscenes and, like, Fu's interactions with Damon in particular, that, like, Fu has always wanted to take over the planet. That was always the plan. And going by, like, what we see in the ending, that's not even, like, a childlike form. Apparently he sort of, like, grows his body. Like, the little round thing you see is, like, what happens when, like, you fuck up his like, grown-up body. So he can sort of, like, just abandon it and just run away. So apparently, like, for whatever reason, he was in that weakened state when he first came to Earth, was unable to take over the planet, and then, like, following his recovery, you know, after 20 years in in the black hole prison, like, he finally comes back to Earth. Like, specifically says 20 years. It's taken him 20 years to, like, recover his energy and come back to Earth to take it over. He hasn't changed at all. Like, he's always been a crazy, power-hungry sociopath. And Damon, begins to understand that. Like, I think at a certain point, like, Damon didn't really understand that Fu was wanting to take over the world, but then grows to, like, kind of accept that, like, yeah, his friend was never who he thought he was and stuff like that, and kind of goes on to take drastic measures against him, like essentially, like, killing Fu himself towards the end. Oh yeah, spoilers, by the way. I don't think I really needed to, like, to specify that. Apparently I've been spoiling stuff in my reviews. I always cover material assuming that, like, most people know what I'm talking about. So yeah, if you haven't finished No More Heroes 3 yet, you probably should. So, I mean, why wouldn't you if you're watching this video? So Fu, in essence, kind of embodies Travis's sort of... what Travis would have ended up as if he, like, shunned the people around him, right? Like, Fu goes to Damon, calls him his friend, but doesn't treat him like one. He doesn't treat him with respect. He doesn't treat him as an equal. He kind of treats him as, like, weirdly as a slave, despite his, like, promises that, like, yeah, bro, we're gonna take over the world together. That's not what they're doing. Like, that's not what Fu has in mind. Like, his actions, you know, killing Damon's board of executives, taking over his entire tower, like, just fucking him over at every opportunity, shit-talking him, like, forcing Sylvia Crystal to, like, be his secretary, essentially. Like, things like that just really go to show you, just, like, you know, what... People rail on No More Heroes 2 a lot for not being as good as the first, but I think in No More Heroes 2, even back then, you kind of had the sense that, like, Travis was a completely different person than he was in the original. Because, like, you know, the entire point of No More Heroes 1, right, was that he was, like, doing this so he could smash Sylvia Crystal, right? And by No More Heroes 2, when Shinobu basically goes for it, right, where she shows that she would be interested in getting Travis's beam katana stuck in her, Travis is just, no, like, Travis was not up for the idea. Like, back at that point, the idea of getting with this, like, much younger chick who he, like, knew while she was still in high school, who he first met while she was still in high school, was, like, an uncomfortable experience for him, right? Like, it made him feel like a dirty old man in a porn. Like, even back then, he was growing and sort of, like... treating Shinobu with the respect she deserved, right? Like, treating her like an actual person, right? As opposed to, like, a potential relationship, like, a potential sex object or what have you. Like he would have in the original. Like, he was already growing up and sort of, like, getting to where he would be in Travis Strikes Again, where, like, he's not really sure, like, what what direction his life needs to go in. And by No More Hero, like throughout the adventure of Travis Strikes Again, he understands that he really wants to be a good person, right? Like he really feels for what happened to he really sympathizes with like Dr. Juvenile, and really begins to loathe some of the people he encounters, like some of the truly unsavory characters, people like Damon Riccatello, who of course like beat the shit out of Dr. Juvenile and you know, runs Electronic Arts, right? Like true scum, right? Like the guy literally owns EA. Like the guy is literally named after an EA executive. He's the most evil character in No More Heroes by far. And of course Travis, you know, isn't gonna have any of that shit. So like he by No More Heroes 3, he's become like so much more of a significantly more compassionate, like more involved character. Like there are so many lines in No More Heroes 3 that symbolize just signify just how much Travis has changed in this regard. Like initially, you know, No More Heroes, Travis didn't care for the town of Santa Destroy at all, right? Like it's just a place he lives in, right? But by 3, like he's really advocating for the people there. Like, we don't fucking want your alien kind here. We want you out. You don't belong here. Is a life of submission really what you want? Like, very, very anti-authoritarian stuff. Travis is based as fuck in this game, by the way, which I think needs to be the subject of another video. But when it comes to, like, Fu in particular, like, the character, I think, is by far the best overarching antagonist we've seen in No More Heroes this far. Because, like, you know, Fu feels like a lot like a better version of Jasper Bat Jr. Like, not only is the fight itself better, like, the build-up is better, the intrigue is better, just the entire build-up to that fight was just so much better handled in general than on Jasper Bat Jr. It really makes you appreciate just how much of a missed opportunity No More Heroes 2 was. Like, Jasper Bat Jr. had, like, a god-tier, like, motive for why he hated Travis. Fu doesn't really have that, but, like, they managed to, like, sell it anyway. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. So, yeah, No More Heroes 3. Those are my thoughts on Fu in particular. This video was supposed to be about Henry, but I got so sidetracked. Yeah, let's next video I will talk about Henry. See you then.